Sure. Okay, my first awareness of Dreamwell came fairly shortly after I moved into the area. It was probably 1999 or maybe 2000, I'm not quite sure. Anyway, the first show, in fact, in the Iowa City area that I saw was a production of Neil Simon's Barefoot in the Park, which had Matt and Sharon Faldudo in it. It was amusing, and it gave me incentive to actually see if I can do that myself. I did my first show at Dreamwell as an actor not long after that. It was a show called Death of the Maiden, and it was terribly traumatic. I got tied to a chair, had underwear stuffed down my throat, got tied with electrical cords. So all in all, if that isn't incentive enough to do more plays, I don't know what is. And since then I've done, oh heavens, probably not as many shows as I would think. I played an old man wearing a dildo, so that's always fun. The nice thing about Dreamwell is those kind of parts you don't usually get in most community theaters. So I'm very grateful to Dreamwell for allowing me the opportunity to stretch my theatrical talents in that sense. I did a lot of acting, and then it segued eventually into directing a couple of shows where, among other things, I managed to crucify a child. So that is why Dreamwell remains so close to my heart to this day. And in fairness, I think that's the wonderful value of Dreamwell. It does material that, let's face it, most community theaters do not do. And outside of professional theaters or maybe the university, it's that I think it's the fact that Dreamwell does explore these more underrated types of material that's what makes it so valuable in the community. Oh, to actors, it's a godsend. I mean, you can only do Oklahoma so many times before you get sick and tired of it. And I don't mean to disparage musicals when I say that. Well, yes, I do. But the material is of a different level. Maybe not necessarily better, but it's certainly not the kind of material that you usually run into when you do most community theaters. So for actors, it's very, very valuable. And in fact, there are quite a few performers who started with Dreamwell back in the day and have since gone on to do more performing professionally and have moved away from the area. But I think it was Dreamwell that gave them that incentive to do so, to say, yes, I can. Yes, I can do professional theater. Yes, I can do this more challenging material that you usually don't encounter in amateur dramatics very much. You know, Dreamwell has been around for 20 years, and congratulations to Dreamwell. The very fact that it survived for as long as it has is an achievement. There aren't too many theaters, especially theaters of this kind, that survive for as long as they do. And the fact that they managed to maintain the quality of their choices of material is really impressive. It's almost defiantly uncommercial, so kudos to them. It has changed since I've my first encounter with it. These days, Dreamwell will not deign to do a Neil Simon play, I think. But perhaps I think it should. It's challenging in its own way. The only argument I could say that might mitigate, that might prevent Dreamwell from doing that is it's a very commercial, it's very commercial material, and Dreamwell doesn't necessarily do that. In fact, it's good that Dreamwell doesn't do that. It maintains its identity that way from staying away from. I wouldn't say that Neil Simon doesn't have its challenges, but it's certainly more commercial than what Dreamwell does. The downside of working theater in this community, which is a relatively small community, is that you work with a lot of the same people. Thankfully, I enjoy working with a lot of the same people, and I can say that quite a few of them have become friends over time. I've not worked with Dreamwell. It has been a while. It has been a while since I've actually done directed a play for Dreamwell or done some on-stage work with them. But the people that I had been involved with since back in the day, since the early 2000s, I still managed to keep in touch with, even when they have since moved out to other places, like Chicago or London even. So that's kind of nice. All in all, they're a wonderful bunch of people, I think, and it has been a pleasure to get to know them over the years. As an actor, the thing that I would look forward to being in a Dreamwell show is the material that they do, the challenges. They do not necessarily do the easiest shows, as I said. And as an actor, I would think that would be very valuable. There is more to life than musicals and Neil Simon. As a director, it's a wonderful challenge. The production values are not necessarily, let's just say that directors work with a limited budget, and they are forced to be creative. And I have seen at least one graduate student in theater break down in tears after having to direct a Dreamwell show, not because of the people or the material. It's a challenge. It's a wonderful challenge, and I kind of wish that anyone who comes through the theater department at the university gets to work with Dreamwell, gets to work with limited resources, because in a weird kind of way, I think that stretches you as a director. You have to think outside the box, and that is good. You do not have the flashing lights, the $1 million sets and costumes, but you have to still be compelling. And that is a wonderful challenge for anyone to have. It can be frustrating, but it's a wonderful challenge. And again, that's one thing that Dreamwell brings to the theatrical community, I think, that honestly not very many theater groups in the area does. I've only directed 2 shows with Dreamwell, actually. One was a comedic sequel to Hamlet called Fortinbras. And this was done at a truly unique venue. It was actually at the 2nd floor of the old Capitol Mall. And then the second one was a play called The Pillow Man. This is where I managed to crucify a child every night for 6 performances. It was a smaller space, and it was the nice thing about a smaller cast is that you can actually do it in a fairly limited space. But I was blessed with a very good set designer who was a graduate student at the university, and he managed to, I think, do a very good job with that show. With larger casts, you can really get creative, and I have been involved in some shows that have exactly been that. Happy birthday, Dreamwell. Do you want me to be more enthusiastic about that? Happy birthday, Dreamwell.